You don't have the answers, TJ.
Do you have the answer?
You don't have the answer.
Tony, do you have the
You
answer?
don't have the answer.
You don't have the answer either.
You don't have the answer.
I still do not have the answers, people. Big up. Welcome to the American Idiot Show, episode 973. More episodes away from the big 100, people. But this is the most important episode right now because we have Arsenal Aaron, a.k.a. Aaron Talks Arsenal, here to talk about the Arsenal dating service. The return of BUKAYO Saka.
He's the host of the show, I heard it, TJ.
Yeah, you know, and I'll be collecting my P45 very quickly if I was to host that show. Let's get that right, my friend.
and of course, I am joined by the co-host with the most, my guy, Dal, a.k.a. Oregon Goon. Let's go, people. Big up the chat. Big up everybody in the chat, even those that are quoting the Bible. The greatest fiction novel ever written. Congratulations, everybody. Congratulations. All right. Let's get it started. Let's not delay. Smash the likes, smash the subs, comment, be active in the chat. You guys know how it goes. All right. The first thing, I didn't even, this was new to me. I didn't even put it in the title because I am so disgusted by this. I was talking to my wife about it, actually. Like when she got home, I'm like, you know, like on the show today, we have to talk about the fact that Arsenal are running a dating service, like a blind dating service. Like if you want to put your name in the hat, you can go on a blind date to an Arsenal match now. Are we like, if we weren't a complete joke before, we are now, in my opinion, because we are catering to the incel virgins of X and the people that are worshiping this manager, in my opinion. Why don't you concentrate on winning football matches instead of this, oh, well, you know, we want to bring all the single Arsenal fans together so we can create more simps to give the Cronkies more money.
To buy our gear.
Bro, I'm dead serious. Like, I told my wife about it. She's like, that's really weird. I'm like, I know. Like, what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? Like, no. Go ahead, Aaron. Go.
I think Arsenal fans needed this because I think it's the only way that Arsenal fans can, you know, go to the Emirates and get a happy ending. Maybe, do you know what I mean? Because going there to watch a game of football just is not the way that is satisfying these Arsenal fans. You know, I think maybe they do need a little bit of a single, you know, one-to-one happiness in there.
Nobody likes a dull draw.
I'm like you, bro. I'm all but married. I know you're married. I'm all but married. So I'll swerve the date. I'll just host it. You know what I mean? I'll just host it. That's all I'll do. You know, and by host, I don't mean watch in the corner. You know, we're not moving like that.
Shut up, you stupid prick.
Yeah.
Shelly, this is Jim Bob. Jim Bob, this is Shelly. She's a gunner. You're a gunner. Make babies.
Yeah.
Now
Let's
piss
get it
off.
on.
The worst thing that to ever happen to this football club was that video of the two fucking weirdos dancing in the crowd when we were beating Chelsea 5-0. Like that's probably where this whole thing started. But like,
am I the only person that's not seen this video, TJ?
Dude,
I've not seen it.
You'll find it.
You've not seen it? No, just look it up.
Honestly, I'm not even joking. Yeah, I will look that up. Yeah, it's new news. Big up, Tony.
Saudi, not the Arsenal.
Yeah, big up Tony every time, dude. Yeah, well, that nobody is surprised by that. Nobody's surprised by that. But Dal, what do you think, man? Dal, what do you think
about the Arsenal dating show or Kudos going to Saudi? Which one?
Arsenal dating show. We'll go to Kudos in a minute,
bro. If that comes on Amazon, I can't wait. I'm going to be recording every episode. You know, like I mean, what? That's so fucking stupid, bro. Like what?
Only us.
I take it. They call it the big match because I tuned on your show today, Aaron. By the way, thank you for the invite. Unfortunately, I had some work, of course, to do today, but thank you again for reaching out. I much appreciate that. But was watching, and you guys start talking about this, and I was like, "This is a fucking joke, right?" So nope. I looked at it. It's called the big match, and if you're a single guy who's looking for a single girl or guy, whatever floats your boat, sign up at ArsenalFootball.com. I mean, what do you even say to that? So are they supposed to match like a gooner and a gooneress? Is that
well, a gooner and just gooner. I don't think the gender matters.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, man. Whatever you can do to promote the club, I guess it's so bizarre. I mean, if they did this in Luton, would the people even have teeth?
No is the answer.
No,
or not many anyway.
North London, man. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm not commenting.
The date ratio ain't great in Luton. That's
bizarre. I
it's
can't
not great.
It's they may be related in some way, but no, I just think that again, it's another marketing thing that detracts away from the actual standards of us not winning anything or us even. Let's be honest, even really competing this season. Did we really compete this season? I'm not so sure. If we were 3 or 6 points behind Liverpool, I would say yes. We're going to push this till the last day. Not now. The 1-0 Chelsea, bore. Who cares, right? We're all looking at Madrid. Yep. So, and even this weekend, I'll be up for the game. I don't know, 6:30 in the morning. But are we really expecting to pound Fulham 4-0?
No.
Dude, isn't that matchup? That match is on Tuesday, right?
Fuck, I don't know. Probably, yeah.
I think it is. Yeah.
Well, I'll be working for that. I'm just
because the FA Cup is going on this weekend. The FA Cup that we're not in.
Right. Yeah. That United are in. All right. Are United still in it? They lost.
No, they lost.
They lost. That's right.
I'm hearing a bad echo.
Yeah.
I think
it's coming. Maybe on your mic.
Is that on me? Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, big up the chat. So anyway, yeah, if you're a single guy looking for a single girl, go to arsenal.com. The big match. You can find yourself a mate that wears the red and white. Again, it's a distraction. It's just more marketing, the distraction, ways to promote Arsenal and some other marketing channel, I guess you could call it, of guys and girls wearing the gear, advertising the gear. You
do realize as well, boys, and chat,
words to describe it.
You know what the next chain of merchandise is going to be now, didn't you? Arsenal lingerie and all of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my god,
that's the next chain of merch, mate. I'm telling you,
bro. Yeah, you got to eat at the A, right?
Yeah, they're going to go all in. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So
Arsenal Summers
and all that. Top with white underwear. I'm kind of curious. It's going to be striped. What's going on here? But other than that, back to the football, I guess, TJ.
Yeah.
I don't know when the dating thing starts. Maybe somebody knows. Is that a new thing for the upcoming season? Is that just for the summer?
It has to be. It has to be something that they're gonna implement next season. But it's one of those things where it's like it's another YouTube short. It's another PR move to say, hey, look at what we're doing for the community. Look at what we're doing for the fan base. All this BS. I'm like, you know what you could be doing for the fan base? Winning football matches. I know this is a bad comparison, but Sporting Kansas City is one of the worst teams in the MLS. And then you got the women's team, the KC Current, winning every single match they're winning. And everybody loves the KC Current the most because it's the most depressing thing to watch somebody lose. Winning solves all problems, people.
Sure.
That is literally the moral of the story. You don't need to put up a dating service. You don't need to get a dog. You don't need to put in the Gabrielle Jesus Road to Recovery YouTube series. You guys remember that? Let's see how well that went. You guys don't need the PR. You guys just need to win. That's all you need to do. Winning is the best PR. Winning is the best PR.
I agree. And it just thinks where does the money come from to support these sort of things? Is it this? This can't be a Kroenke's thing.
No, they have to sign off on this, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, they were probably running out of ideas on how to bring in maybe new fans, or they realize the fan base is split and they think this is a way to rejuvenate something. I mean, Aaron, like we've talked about before, you've been at the Emirates, of course, many more times than myself and TJ. What do you were you at Chelsea, and what was the current vibe? What was the vibe?
Was I? Was that the Chelsea one? I
the
I
last
actually
home
wasn't.
game you
I
were at.
actually wasn't at the Chelsea one. No, I
Okay.
actually weren't at that. I was at. When was my last game? This PSV game.
Mm,
So it was a little. I think probably what you're asking in terms of like maybe the Premier League, the PSV one might not be a good game to sort of go to purely on the notion that all the fans were going there midday, sort of,
yeah,
even on a Wednesday. We were 7-1 up. There was a lot of new fans, a lot of people sold their tickets. Do you know what I mean? So it might
right.
not be the best game to sort of go by what you're sort of saying is, but to roll it over to what you are saying is I've been to the Emirates Stadium. Of course, I've got a season ticket. I go to pretty much every home game. It's not been the same this season, and that's what
Right.
you are getting at in it, Dal.
Yeah.
It's just not been the same. I will be there for Madrid. Oh, I do have a ticket,
Oh
of course, for the
shit.
Arsenal v Madrid
That's gonna be
game. I'm sure you'll want to speak about that at some stage, so I won't go over it too much at the minute. But yeah, it's not been the same, Dal. I remember for the years that I've had my season ticket, I've sat there and watched 10-2 versus Bayern Munich. That was the first year I had it. Yeah, and that
Yeah,
was pain.
yeah.
Yeah. What a crap season to have it. And I've
Heartbreaking.
sat there and had at the opposite end, and being able to go to Wembley and see Arsenal beat Chelsea 2-1 and lift the FA Cup. That's unbelievable
Right.
high. Something I'll treasure for the rest of my life. And then you go to the Arteta and the Emery days. It was boring, difficult, real sort of slog, a bit of a chore to watch it. And then all of a sudden, Arteta sets out this team in 22-23 season that starts smashing teams to pieces. We're winning games after 10 minutes. The atmosphere, boys, was absolutely rocking. And I'm telling you, boys, for an absolute fact, I'm not under exaggerating it. It was fire. Everyone was going there and it was epic. Well, of course it is. You're beating teams 2 or 3-0 in the first 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, those are the days. Yeah, funny. Yeah, those were the days. Yeah.
Just 2 years ago.
Yeah. Those were the days. Big up Tone Sausage.
Tony needs a new clock.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I just remember the vast majority of that season going there and was like, wow, man, it's nice to go to there. You're like waking up in the morning and you're like, wow, yeah, I'm going to Arsenal today, man. And then, you know what I mean? You're leaving the stadium and you're like, that was wicked, wasn't it? It's like, wow, we might actually win the league here. Since then, Dal, to what, I've gone around the houses to answer your point, sorry, mate. It's been worse game by game by game. You'll get the odd Manchester City game. We got the Chelsea game last year, PSV 6 or 5-0, whatever it was, Lons. But, mate, it's got worse every single game. And for fans like me, and I think a lot of people, that buzzing, wake up in the morning on Saturday and like, I can't wait to go to Arsenal today, is turned into, I've got to go to Arsenal today, man. Like, it's a shame when it's a chore like that. And you're sitting in the stands and it's just like what you're watching is a bit boring. It's you can predict what's going to happen. It's not great on the eye. The results aren't phenomenal. It's a shame, Dal. And one of the things I really hope for is, whilst I do sort of predict a bit of a tame crowd again at Fulham at home, which again I know we'll get to. I really hope that we pick it up for that Real Madrid game. I really do, because if there's going to be any way we're going to win that, the fans need to be on point as well as the team.
I wanted to ask you a question, Aaron, because I've been watching us all season, and it's been probably one of the least entertaining seasons I've watched of Arsenal football in my 15 years of following the club. Loosely the 10 years before, the last 5 years before COVID, but I'm watching this club and I see this manager being so pragmatic, being so safe with the football that we play, and it's really it's really not that entertaining. Obviously 22-23 was really entertaining, but do you think that we need Arteta or another manager to change the way we play to be a little bit more risky? Because we're so risk averse right now. If we get the ball up the pitch and we don't see it, we pass it back. We're pass it back FC, right? Do you think that we need to take another approach tactically to start actually getting points and like taking more of a risky stance?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I mean, Again, I'll sort of go back to that season, and that's what a lot of us Arsenal fans do, because that's our real only good reference point. People will say, we finished 2 points behind Manchester City last season, whereas that point we bottled it quite heavily. But we were in absolute control of that league. We weren't in control of the league at any stage, really, last season. We've never been points clear last season, was we? That season, we were 8 points clear for a good amount of that season. And for the vast majority of that season, everyone in the country was looking at Arsenal and thinking, that's the best team in the league for 3/4 of that season. That is the best team in that league right now. And I was even saying it, we are the best team in the league. When it started getting to that February, I'm like, on form right now, we are the best team in the league. And then it's frustrating, because I had this take after we bottled it. Of course, it's very frustrating, devastating. It really sort of exploded in front of our faces. Pause. And
good pause, good one.
I know. Arteta sort of ripped the script up. And if you'll take my analogy, I'm not comparing the two managers, so don't take it sort of from that. But what I mean is, when Jurgen Klopp weren't quite getting it over the line in his first couple of seasons for Liverpool, he didn't change the way he played. He stuck to his guns, and he did for the whole 9 years that he was there, by the way. So they had an opportunity. They sold Coutinho, they bought Van Dijk in, and they bought Alisson in. What I'm saying is he had this attacking, aggressive team that played on the front foot, and instead of ripping that script up and throwing it out, what Jurgen Klopp done was just built a bit more of a solid base and let the front lot carry on. So, he had that monster of a centre-back and that absolute baller of a goalkeeper. And then all of a sudden, you've then got a team that can express themselves going forward with the security of the defence in a world-class goalkeeper and a world-class centre-back. Bearing in mind as well, when you get a number one centre-back like Virgil van Dijk was, it instantly makes your partner centre-back much better. Right. We've seen number one centre-backs and there's number two. Tony Adams to a Steve Bold. Do you know what I mean? You've got Tony Adams to a Campbell to a Torre, John Terry to a Carvalho, John Terry to a Gallas. Rio Ferdinand and Vidic, probably two number ones. But you see the point I'm trying to make, You get Virgil van Dijk in, and then Joe Gomez comes in for Liverpool, and they're automatically looking fantastic. A Konate's looking fantastic. And then all of a sudden, the right-hand side, like a Trent's very secure. We needed, and then 2 years ago, we needed 1 or 2, 3 signings maybe to just secure ourselves at the back. But instead, Arteta just decided to go, we're conceding too many goals. What we'll do is we'll turn into a defensive team. And he's just ripped up all that expression.
What's so crazy is we weren't even conceding that many goals. And you also have to consider the quality that we had. Like, all you need to do is build the depth behind Gabriel and Saliba. Like, that's all you need to do. You get 1 or 2 more players in. You don't need to change your way of playing the game. Look, like, the biggest reason we lost the title that season, I'm sorry, Rob Holding. That was it. That was the beginning and the fucking end.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Exactly.
But he also forced Gabriel Jesus back too.
Yeah.
Right. Rob Holding.
It was just like the attack. The attack was never the problem, in my opinion. It was the defense. Once we lost Saliba, Gabriel, you said it earlier. You have the best center back in the world the pairing. Whoever's next to him is going to get way better, exponentially better. As soon as Gabriel lost Saliba, it was over. And I'm not trying to dig up dead bodies here and do an autopsy on an autopsy on an autopsy that we've been doing for the past 2-3 years. But it's facts. Like, you didn't need to change too much. You just needed to get more depth in those positions and have people that could handle counters if we got caught in a bad position. That was literally it.
DJ, there's a focal point as well there.
Twice. Sorry, go ahead.
No, there's also a focal point there that you mentioned, and that was the Saliba and the Saliba injury to make a state of this fact. And many people like me think, do you know what? If Saliba didn't get injured, maybe we could have gone on to win the Premier League that year. But do you know what? This is the worrying thing that I will bring up, and this is the massive worrying thing. That was 2 years ago, yeah? Have we signed a right-sided centre-back? No. We haven't learned our lesson. This is the worrying thing, TJ. The manager, They're not identifying the issues anywhere near quick enough. Either they don't identify the problem or they take too long to rectify it.
Right.
Saliba ruining our season 2 years ago and costing us a league title. A right-sided centre-back would have been the first thing I bought in the summer. We still haven't bought one. We've been concentrating on the left-hand side, and we've got about 10 of them. Like, what we doing here? Do you know what I mean? Like, why have we not signed a right-sided centre-back?
We bought 3 keepers and 2 windows, bro. Right?
Oh,
and then we look at Calafiore and Moreno to build upon. It's like, again, like the Calafiore deal, I always think that we get in the wrong direction. Well, are we doing this for the future? Or are we trying to win now? At times I think it's now, right? I gotta say, at times I think it's now. But when the transfer window already comes around, gets closer like it already is. I saw something today, Man City linked to freaking Fabian Wirtz, bro. Linked to Lucas Paqueta or
Paqueta.
Paqueta, right? So there's already big names. And then also, who are we looking at? Sesko.
And the whole Zubamendi thing fell through real quick too. But
right, of course.
Yeah, big up Will Football Corners for the raid.
Big up Will. Don Carlo makes the call, you go. Right? So Zubamendi for Madrid makes sense all day long. That's a done deal. So right. I just think that the more time we waste, the more we lose chances for getting these top players. Right. And again, we have to sell a project. Other clubs don't. And selling a project is very difficult, especially when you have really nothing to show for your project, but a little bit of progress, right? Oh, we're the quarterfinals Champions League, possibly the semifinals, which I don't think is going to happen. But hey, the quarterfinals is, what prospective player would look at that and be like, that's the place for me? When we can't even decide to play, we don't even play Gabriel Martinelli as our center forward. Right?
Dude,
I mean, he's so hell-bent on this Moreno thing, and I agreed with Rashid. Sorry, I think it's Rashid. Many times in shows where he's been one of the I might say the only people I think Aaron's even said it a bit too, has been calling out Arteta to put Gabriel Martinelli up 100%. Front. Mobility, striking options.
You're getting Zubamendi, Will, by the way. You're getting Zubamendi.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when you have a player like that and you sit him or play him opposite, it gives me no confidence that you know what you're doing, because no other real squads have done this. We've seen United flirt with Bruno Fernandes up front, right? And we're laughing at him, bro. And we put a CDM up there. I mean, what are we going to do when this is against Madrid? If Moreno plays against Fulham up front, we'll say, okay, that's the theme we're going with now. It is what it is. Let Arteta fall on that sword, right? But when you go to the Bernabeu or even up against Madrid, home or away, and you don't put your attacking player up front, it just proves to me that you don't care about winning anything. You just want to improve players' performance. But you guys know, we all know that will come with time. It's time that makes the difference, not just slotting a player in somewhere and saying, oh, they're going to be a difference maker. It takes time. If you want Moreno to be the striker, fucking say it. Come out and say it. Tell the fan base. Because when he does this, it splits the fan base even more and more. Right? So my whole thing is just be transparent. Right? If and again, and we can lead into Saka.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk to you guys about this, and I know you talked this to death.
To be transparent. That's what I want the most right now,
man.
They'll never be that, because they have to look out for the brand, and this is really what it's all about, is the fact that we're catering to people that obviously can't date outside of their supporter pool. We're talking about a YouTube series where people go on blind dates to Arsenal games, and that's like at the front of everybody's mind. When you're but we also have to talk about Bukayo Saka here. So Bukayo Saka has been training with the team for the last 2-3 weeks. The social media team is building him up. It scares me,
to be honest with you guys, and I know you guys have talked about this a lot, Aaron, especially you in the last couple of hours. It scares me because I'm not a guy that needs immediate gratification. I know what this season is going to be. We are not going to win the Champions League. We will likely go out against Real Madrid, whether Bukayo Saka is there or not, especially a Bukayo Saka that is coming off of a very, very serious injury. We need to be focusing on next season. I am 100% next season FC right now. You can judge me all you want. Am I going to be here doing match reactions for every game? Abso-fucking-lutely. But you have to be looking at next season as our chance, because literally there are so many big teams in transition right now, and we have arguably one of the strongest cores in the Premier League. So why are we trying to rush this guy back, our talisman in attack? Why are we trying to rush him back to get in what is in my opinion a futile effort across the line, when you can just save him, let him get back to full fitness, and then go again next season? So, like, what are you guys thinking about this? I know you guys are probably along the same lines I am, but let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, listen, I am with you, and I'm sure I'm with you as well, Dal. I think it's a full house in terms of what we feel about Bukayo Saka being rushed back, and it is just that, rushed back. There is no way on earth that anyone, and it's funny because people are saying this is one of the things that people are saying, trust the doctors. That's okay, cool. I wouldn't trust Arsenal's doctors, and I said this on my show. I wouldn't trust Arsenal's doctors with diagnosing me with a cold.
ESR,
like, you know what I mean? Like,
ESR,
let's get this absolutely right. Shall we trust these doctors that rushed back Gabriel Jesus from 4 massive injuries? Shall we trust this man? The doctors that allowed and said Declan Rice, yeah, you're all right to play with a broken toe, and then we're wondering why his form's not there. Yeah, you're all right, Ben White. He's been scrutinised early this season for not being on form. Why? Because he needed surgery. But our doctor said you're all right to play, though. Is this the same lot as well that can't adequately give a timeline on Tomiyasu over the past 3 or so years? I mean, shall I continue? Like, shall we just go back? Why on earth would we trust these lot? Like, I'm sorry, I don't trust them with anything. Like, and then you look at Mikel Arteta. We've all seen him push Thomas Partey back on the field against Tottenham when we lost 2-0 away. And then what happened? He was out for 4 months after that. These lot don't care about these players. And either there's poor assessment or Mikel Arteta just doesn't listen to it. One or both has happened. There's no scenario where none of them exists, and the doctors are doing their job phenomenally well, and Arteta's got the players' welfare as a priority. There isn't a scenario where both of them things happen. I'm sorry, we've seen too many injuries now. And what does that mean for obviously Bukayo Saka? Then that means he gets rushed back. Michael Owen, was he ever the same player after exactly the same injury? No, we can't just say
he wasn't.
Oh, because Michael Owen.
That's what scares me. That's what scares me the most.
But it's a realistic scenario. And then you hear Michael Owen say, you know, it ruined the last 7 years of his career. 7. We're not also talking about, because I've also heard these excuses, another worrying Top Gooner excuse. Well, you know, like Bukayo Saka's probably dreamed of this moment to play Real Madrid. He's 23 years old. He'll either play for Real Madrid or definitely in the next 12 years play against them or equivalent. Let's get it right. You know, he's an elite level footballer at an elite club. He's going to play in the Champions League again, whether it's at Arsenal or another club.
For sure.
You know, it's not as if it's last chance saloon and he's 33 trying to get his last hurrah, is it?
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here?
To take a trip to Madrid.
Like, what we sort of doing here? And then you sit there and just think, okay, what's the risks v reward? Okay, the risks obviously we play him, and you know he has got what? We got Fulham our next game at home. You can't start him in that game because he hasn't played, and that's only in a couple of days' time. That's on Tuesday.
You have AFTV going on Twitter being like, how many minutes should he play? I'm like, none. Like, he should not be playing, period.
What's the game after that, boys? What's the game after that? Everton. Boys, what's the game after that? Everton at Goodison.
Right.
That's a battle. He's going to get the shit kicked out of him.
Yep.
And in what? Preparing for that game against Real Madrid. You know, and let's just say, all right, now, because I've also heard this, and people have been like, yeah, we're on about the return leg. Okay, well, let's just have a scenario then. Let's just say pretend he's got all these little minutes in there, and he's still nowhere near 100% fit. Why? Because he hasn't played a single game yet. And that Real Madrid game is in 11 days, I think. 11. Yeah. How are you going to get match fit in 11 days and be 100%? I mean, just do that math alone is just absolutely borderline ridiculous in itself after a grade 3 hamstring tear. Madness, but people don't listen. Let's just say, for argument's sake, we have a positive result. And by positive, I mean a draw or even let's just say a win. I mean, that'd be absolutely buzzing. What's going to happen at the Bernabeu a week later, 1 week later? I'll tell you what will happen is he will be expected on the right wing to be running up and down all day long. He'll be expected to track back. And we're not going to be on the front foot if we've got something to play for. We're not going to be at the front foot almost at any stage in that at the game at the Bernabeu. And do you know what Rudiger will do? Because he's a nasty so-and-so. Rudiger will absolutely flatten him. Him. That's what he'll do. And he don't care that, he's just a young kid with a scar on his leg. Now, Rudiger's going to go, bosh. There you go. Would have come near me again, Bukayo Saka. Yeah, I'll end your career, son.
Yeah,
come
well,
near me again.
He should. But Saka should know about Rudiger. He played for Chelsea. He's still that same nasty motherfucker, man. I can't stand that guy.
I'm more worried about the transition. I think I was on a show with Jez. I think it was last week, a week before. Our weaknesses is transition, right? What I'm worried about is that there's going to be a through ball by Valverde or Bellingham, and we're going to be chasing their front three. And you're right about Saka. He's going to have to help defend against one of the best players in the world, Saka versus Vinny Jr., right? So, I mean, it's just added pressure. I did go on with Tony Claude, I think it was Tuesday, and I'm backtracking my comments a bit because I was very much pressing the idea that, you know what, when a professional footballer is fit, they feel fit, and the doctors, Arsenal doctors, I should add, think he's fit.
Nicely added, Dal, by the way. Nicely added.
When the dog thinks he's fit, right? If he's fit, he's fit. And if he's fit, he should play. But I did, in my comments, exclude Fulham, right? And I even excluded, I think, the following game, which I now remember, like you said, is Everton. I said he needs another couple weeks. Maybe give him time in the Madrid game. Because I just feel like if he's ready, don't slay me, guys. A player's ready, but I'm not. I would rather go on his instinct and his instinct alone than make that decision based on the doctors, right? Even though they play a part in it. And I know I'm going to get return comments on that. And I'm not saying to play him, right? What I am saying, though, is that we need to do deep evaluation for the Madrid game and just concentrate on the Madrid game, get him fit as possible. I don't know if keeping him out and then the opposite of that's keeping him out for the rest of the season, because we all know the rest of the Prem games really don't matter. Let's be honest. We're 13 points behind. The rest of the Prem does not matter. And it would be sinful to hurt this kid for next season, which I agree. But if he's ready and fit, I don't think 1 or 2 games against Madrid would do the damage of him continuing in the Prem.
Yeah,
right? That's it, right?
My biggest problem is that he really wasn't a difference maker at the beginning of the season also, and he wasn't at full fitness. And there's no way that he's at full fitness now. Like, I'm sorry. Right. So why even risk it? That's my biggest problem. Like, look, am I going to be pissed? Am I going to be pissed when we go out against Real Madrid? Yes, because I don't like seeing Arsenal lose. But I also have a bigger picture in mind, and I hoped that the leadership would have that as well. Look, Winieri is not everybody's favorite on the right wing. He had a fucking howler against United. Like, everybody's using that against him. He had a bad game. He's 17 years old, but he is the future of this club. Okay. Yeah. Let him go out there and do it again. Give him the experience.
because the experience that we get now we can use later. And people are going to be like, "Oh, TJ, your next season FC." Look, we just do not have. We don't have the quality to get it over the line against Real Madrid. Okay, we just don't. It just is what it is. Okay.
Big up Logic.
So let's big up Logic every single time. By the way, smash the likes, guys. Get us up to 30 likes before the end of the stream. But no, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, TJ, you're so negative. You're the American League hunter." No, I just watch football with my eyes. You have to realize that we just do not have the quality. We have the potential quality, though. That's what scares me. So in the next 2 or 3, in the next 1 or 2 seasons, you need to get something done, and you need to be looking to execute. And if we have an injured Saka or a limping Saka next season, we're not going to be any better off than we are right now.
TJ, these are the same people, though, my friend, that'll go, yeah, you got to play him, all this and all that. And if he gets a setback, say for argument's sake, he gets a setback and can't start next season for however long. Let's just even say 5 games. Let's just say 5 games. And just like that. And then in them 5 games, you drop points and don't win the league again. They're the same fans that will go, yeah, but Saka weren't fit for the start of the season, was he? But you wanted him to play in the game that he got injured in, though, didn't you? And do you see what I mean? Like, we can at least look at the bigger picture. Maybe it's an age thing, maybe a generation thing. Maybe I don't know what sort of thing it is. But I just can look at the bigger picture and just see it and just think, do you know what? It might be a slightly different thing if we had the same injury with the same time frame and it was Real Madrid in the semi-final in a month's time. I think maybe, like, even though I've always sort of said quite strongly I'd save him to the end of the season, I would have more appreciation for a different argument saying he might be ready. And I'd probably maybe wrap my head around, okay, it's been a month. There's been a few more games to play in the Premier League for preparation. I'd wrap my head around that. Plus, it's a semi-final. If stars align over 2 legs, you're in a final. This is a quarter-final, and it's a month away from that semi-final. And it's also a month less, fixtures less of match fitness. And, everything like that. It's just too soon. And that's where I think management needs to come into play. Like Saka, Arteta particularly needs to just have that round him and just go, I know it's crap that you might not be able to play in this game, but don't worry, you're one of the best right wingers in the world, son, and there'll be an opportunity next season. Don't you worry about that. That's what he needs. A bit of tough love, isn't it? Just it's not your season, son.
I would say as well, I mean, after I made those comments on Tony's show, shout out Tony Claude, I've listening to other shows and been thinking, and so I have come around to think that it's much more of a liability at this stage to even get him out there. I mean, the amount of running he'd have to do just defending alone, right? Just trying to keep Vinny Jr., somewhat at bay is going to be a task that I don't think anybody really wants, to be honest, because he's going to be out there to cook, and he's got plenty of time. I feel that also that if we don't play our Saka, Arteta has to take a look at the formation because a 4-3-3, right? If he's in the right wing, that's a lot of pressure. If we're at 4-4-2, you can bring, let's say, one area's on the wide right and a 4-4-2. That's a lot more of a midfield place position, right? He doesn't have to be so far up, even though we'd be relying on probably Trossard and
who would play, I was going to say who would play up front in the 4-4-2.
Mine would be Trossard and Martinelli, right? Or
I
know, but then
but then who would play on the left? Yeah, you'd have to put like Tierney on the left.
We could.
Sterling.
I'm glad this conversation. I'll let you finish.
You could put Tierney there. You could put Tierney, Odegaard, Rice, and Nwaneri as the midfield 4, right? But again, Arteta won't think and be creative that way. Right, he'll still go 4-3-3, make the players just completely gas themselves at the end of the match, right? Because we all know 4-4-3, it's great when it works, but when you're in the defense, bro, we're caught in transition against too deeply. So again, if 4-4-2, if Saka's, if Saka was to be fine, which he's not, I would even consider that. But I just think that the formation and the players determines a lot on what they physically can and can't do.
Yeah.
A 4-4-2, you can set back a bit, right? But then you can push the attack, and that's why it's the old school formation. because you can do different things with it. I think with 4-3-3, you're way open more to counterattacks. Their midfield will dominate the midfield. Maybe Rice will have a great game. I'm not expecting anything from Odegaard, to be honest. I think the game's going to pass him by. I think the game is literally going to pass our captain by. Like he's not fucking there like it goes, right? I mean,
Charlie Boy Watts didn't like it when I said that to him either.
Yeah, right. It depends on how you do it, right? If you do Baka 4-4-2 against Madrid, I think you defensively have a chance, and you could possibly hit him on the counter, right? But again, if Moreno up front, just throw all opportunity out the window for me, because you're not providing any threat, no real threat to them, So that's why I think, I was thinking how formations play into the injury. If Saka was in that, front two of a 4-4-2, or should he be far right? If that would make a difference, but God forbid this kid's foot turns the wrong way.
Yeah.
Right. Just little things. Yeah. Right. His heel comes out from under. He slips and falls. Right. Pulls something. I mean, it might not even be actually ball related, or Rudiger running him over like a steamroller. Right. It could just be slipping on the pitch, and that could be it. So,
Rob, how many times do we see that? Even with any injury, however big or small, they get one injury there, and the muscle in the other leg or something is relaxed, and they get an injury somewhere else. We see that all the time. It's not just a reoccurrence of the same injury. You could have a hamstring injury, and then your calf could go because it's not up to the same level as. Do you see what I mean? And
you play funny on it, right? You play funny on it, right? You feel it when you're running and playing, and it's in the back of your mind, and it will keep you from performing on what you need to do and execute.
Mate, it's exactly right. We're in absolute sync. And do you know what as well? Can I just say, I'm so glad we've steered it to formations over to the Real Madrid game, because this is how I'd do it, yeah. And I've said this since day dot. This is my blueprint personally of having a chance, especially at home in the first leg, of doing something against Madrid. Look, we all know what front three that they've got. It's unbelievable. I mean, Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo. But do you know what? We've also got a good defense. We have got a good defense. Raya's been very good this season as a whole. Our two centre backs, say less. And Timber has been, I would say, arguably one of the best backs, if not in the Premier League. Has been fantastic, Timber. For that game, and I know he won't do it, which is why I'm saying, like, you're so right, Dow. When I was listening to you talk, then Arteta will not change anything like that. What you will do, I do agree also to some extent. He won't do it because he will stick to the 4-3-3. What I will do, he won't do it. He will stick to the 4-3-3, right? So I'd play Raya, I'd play Timber, and I'd play our two centre backs. And I'd have Kieran Tierney on that left-hand side. Why? Because he knows how to defend. Absolutely knows how to defend. If he didn't want to play Kieran Tierney, I'd play Ben White at right back. But I only didn't go for that option first because Ben White's not match fit enough. And then I'll have had Timber left back. So this basically is a defensive back five, essentially, including the goalkeeper that I want. And they need to be on fire to keep the Real Madrid boys at bay. Yeah, that front three. They need to be fine. But there is a realistic universe in which Arsenal have a very good defensive masterclass against the Real Madrid attack because they're good defensive.
And Real Madrid has been mad inconsistent this season too.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm not saying we're going to go out there, but I'm kind of with troops a little bit with the hashtag who knows kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what could happen? Like Real Madrid has mailed in stinkers. They got beat by Barcelona 4-0 at home this season. Like, it is not out of the realm of games. It is not out of the realm of possibility. The only thing that they're living off of right now is that European heritage right now. And look, and they do strike fear, but they are absolutely capable of mailing in a stinker.
Yeah. And that is an interesting thing. And we as Arsenal fans, look, we will cling on to them sort of hopes because as negative, American.
I'm too negative. Sorry, I'm negative. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Negative American League gunner over here. But believe it or not, I want Arteta to be the best manager in Arsenal's history. Why? Because that means Arsenal have won loads of trophies. Why would I not want that? It's ridiculous. I don't spend a lot of money and I don't spend thousands of pounds and thousands of hours to pray that we fail. It's ridiculous. Like, it's madness. And that's what I think people need to listen to. But back to the formation thing. And this is where it gets back to a couple of years ago for me. I'd go for a 4-2-3-1. Yeah. So you've heard my defense, Tierney there. And I'd have Rice and Thomas Partey at the base. I'd have Rice because he's not a left 8 for me. I always argue with Kenny, very politely, of course, because I love Ken. And he's a lot bigger than me. But yeah, you know,
Kenny's ripped. Watch out for that. He's ripped. Watch out.
Yeah, I've met Kenny a couple of times. Yeah, he's yeah. His hand completely suffocated this little hand. I went, "Hello, Ken. How you doing?" And it just almost wrapped around itself. He almost lapped my hand when he shook it. I was like, "Oh, wow, the most demasculating moment of my handshaking career." Thank you very much, Kenny. But now, big up to Kenny Ken. Yeah, so I'd have them two at the base, Thomas Partey and Declan Rice, of course, because Declan Rice is naturally defensive. Look, he's come through the ranks as a central defensive a player, and whilst I played nowhere near that sort of level, I was also a centre back. I know how to read that game because I was very good at reading the game at centre back. So when I was watching him last season at the Emirates, I could almost sort of see, I was like, oh, that's where I'd run. And you could see him even from that midfield closing lanes when the whipping balls. He was almost that fifth centre back. He is naturally defensive minded. I'd have him there. And of course, Thomas Partey next to him in that double pivot, comfortable with his back to goal, receiving the ball quite close to our box, being able to either drop the shoulder and spin or make a good touch and progress the ball forward. Right. And the reason why I say that's very pivotal for Thomas Partey to be able to progress the ball forward in tight spaces is because it leaves them open on the transition. And why would I have that? Because I'd have Martinelli up top, absolutely 100%. I'd have Trossard on the left, and I'd have Nwaneri on the right with Odegaard as the 10, purely on the basis of being able to shake that, being able to soak up that defensive pressure. Right. Thomas Partey maybe be able to spin and wriggle in, dropping the shoulder out of that and progressing the ball forward to Odegaard. Then all of a sudden we've got 3 runners. That's how we're beating this team. Like, I'm sorry, it's counter-attack all day long for me. Even if it goes out to the left, we're more prominent on that right-hand side. We've got Trossard on there, who I reckon is not a natural winger, but he can cut in. He always cuts in because he hasn't got any pace. So he cuts in. What does he do on that left-hand side? Cuts in, can shimmy and beat a man, and he's got 2 runners in Martinelli and Ethan Nwaneri running down on that side. Yeah. That is it for me. And let's say, everyone says, oh, yeah, but, you Marino up top and all that. We don't need Marino in the box for corners. I know we got a little fluky goal against Chelsea, but we've got Gabriel, we've got Saliba, we've got Declan Rice, who may be, depending on what side, may be taking the corner. We've got players to win the game from set pieces, but we will win this game playing Real Madrid on the counter-attack, being able to have that secure defence in Kieran Tierney, Gabriel, Saliba, and Timber, as well as Declan Rice and Thomas Partey sat next to each other, and then have runners. Please have runners.
I think that's the best. That's the best lineup. That's the best form. I've been the 4-2-3-1. I've been called. DJ knows I've been calling that out for day one since we've got Rice in partnership with Partey. But but then I feel at times when we do have all our players fit, Aaron, and we do have Partey, Rice in there, we do kind of conform to that 4-2-3-1. You can see the 4-3-3 turn into that, right, at times. But it's a lot different turning into that than actually solidifying yourself and being in those positions, right? It's having the right players in the right positions at the right time. I agree 100% with having the two central mids in front of the back 4, controlling a bit, taking turns going up and down, right? Because we know Partey gets up there and takes a shot that 9 times out of 10 ends up in my backyard. So I do like the alteration of that. Yeah, the 4-4-2 was just kind of something that I thought would be basic, right? Would be real basic. But a 4-2-3-1 for this group, that's the best lineup. Yeah. That's the best lineup. That's the best formation, and that is the best lineup that we have currently available, bar injuries. So again, Martinelli up front. I don't. What is Moreno doesn't even fit into that squad? You can bring Moreno off and Moreno on in the 65th minute, right? Maybe not, because Declan Rice can do a full 90 minutes. You can bring one area off and then make a 4-3-3, some sort of formation. I don't know, but But back to the thing is if we keep them. Sorry, TJ, real quick.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Like Aaron's saying, if we keep countering them and push our center backs up to the halfway line, it will be difficult for them to break us down. It will be difficult for them to get out of their half at times. What I'm worried about though is when Rice and if we do a 4-2-3-1, the ball gets through Rice and Party. If Timber, Gabriel, are they going to make that step back first? Or are they going to attack the ball first, right at midfield? You know what I'm saying? If that loose 50-50
I think they take a step back personally.
I think so too. And because you don't want to get chasing these guys, right? The ball in front of you, you're behind Mbappe by 2 yards, it's 1-0. You're not going to catch them. And that's why, like, even with like Aaron saying, having Rice drop back a bit or Party switch off, Rice can do that fifth defender role just fine.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. Well, that's my biggest problem. And look, like, I agree 100% with the formation. I agree, especially at the Bernabeu. When we go out there, we need to be stinking something out. We need to be going in there with a mentality to say, hey, we need to get away with one here. We need at least even odds before we go back to the Emirates, because we've seen that we can concede at the Emirates in the Champions League. Like it just is what it is. But my worry is that this Arsenal manager will not do that because he's so used to playing Rice in a box to box. That's what and I don't know if he's going to coach Rice to be like, okay, like I'm very, very okay with you carrying up the ball, trying to break the lines, trying to get us in there on the left side. But against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, no, stink it out. Like, I'm fine with a 0-0 for us at the Bernabeu. Is a win. Yep. It's a win for us, and then we can bring it back to the Emirates and do something huge. But I don't have any faith in the manager to do that, because I think he has a lot of faith in the players to go out there and not make mistakes. But the problem is that we're going up against a Real Madrid team that will capitalize on those mistakes every single time. You have the three of the top 10 best attackers in world football on that team, in my opinion, and Mbappe, Rodrigo, and Vinny Jr. Like, yeah, Vinny Jr. has he not been 100% this entire season? Yes, but is he still second in the Ballon d'Or voting? Yes, the guy is dangerous. Mbappe, obviously dangerous. Rodrigo, absolute star. I would kill for a guy like that on my team. So that's my big worry, is that the overconfidence of this manager, not only in the players but tactically. I think that he's going to overestimate our chances, especially away. So that's why I don't have much faith in this. But I agree with the formation 100%. I agree with the formation 100%.
What you're saying, though, is opposite, because we play them away in the second leg. So
okay.
We have to do something big there, right?
So we got to do something big there. Get a lead at the Emirates and then defend it.
Right.
I don't care. Park the bus. Do whatever you have to do. Sorry, I completely screwed that up. But but no. Big up Flawless for the raid, by the way, every single time. Big up Flawless. Big up Sarcasm City TV. Go over there and subscribe to Sarcasm City TV. Flawless, we need to get Aaron. Aaron Talks Arsenal on the Gunner Talk podcast.
That's one thing is, and I think you guys will agree. You look at Madrid's midfield; it's very good, right? If Modric isn't there, it's Brahim Diaz. Or Bellingham's not there, it's Diaz, etc. They have, Arda Güler. So, and I know there's some rumors of some players possibly being suspended, right, for some conduct against whatever happened after the Atletico Madrid match. There was a big falling out or whatever. But let's be realistic. That's a slap on the wrist. They're probably going to be fine. Like 10 or 11 days, right? I mean, come on. And I do agree with your comments. They are 3 of the top 10, in my opinion, best players in the world, if not Vinny Jr.'s in the top 5 for sure. But the thing is that when we play them first, right? So they come to our house. You're right. I think we could get a 1-0 win against them at home. I do think that, because I don't think their form has been that great away. I see Valverde in the chat, and I know League Gunner watches religiously. Madrid is my Spanish team as well. got a shirt upstairs. You know.
Yeah,
so,
you got the you're a card carrying motherfucker.
In the background with
I didn't do that because I was afraid that this was going to happen. But keep going.
I just think that, but with that midfield, I think that's where the battle relies. We talk about the front three. If their front three can't get the ball, nothing's going to happen because they're not defending. While our front three are required, right, to come back and do some defending at times. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, that's like we've done that defensive setup. We saw it against City in the 2-2, right? Fantastic second half of defending until the last second. But, so I guess my question is, do you guys think that we know our attacking three is not as good as theirs? We believe our defense is better. Which
Only by a little bit, though, Dad. By a little bit.
I do think that with Rice and Party in there, that will challenge Bellingham and Valverde. And Valverde's very good too, right? He's got a good pass. He can shoot outside the box. He can put him top bins. We give him a yard of room. He can kill you. But if those things don't happen for them, right? If, like Aaron and both you guys have said, if the close down is good, if we really concentrate on closing down the midfield, closing down the wings, and I think we can get out of there with a 0-0.
Yeah.
Even at the first game at home. Even though we got to go there, that's another story. But I think there's the battle lies in the midfield. I do. And I think at times we'll be able to capitalize on that because Bellingham is fantastic when he's in the box. I don't see much what he does outside of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Valverde is dangerous everywhere. Camavinga dangerous. Modric is dangerous, right? But if we can just kind of keep that midfield and keep the service, at bay to their front three, there's something there.
Now, do you not sort of think as well, like with
you guys are starting to sound way too positive for me. Go ahead, Aaron.
I'm on
positivity, man. It's disgusting, isn't it? Kick us both off and just go on your own. I think, TJ, isn't it? Right. Yeah. Me and Dow we've been bit, mate. Isn't it? That's it. We're gonna win the league and the Champions League. Yeah, that's it.
We're winning it all.
Yeah. Do you know what Arsenal need? It's obviously, we know there's a lot of inferiorities in terms of squad, regardless of what a gal says. Their starting 11 is heavily dominant. Let's get that right.
Right.
Big up a gal. But like we sort of need, I always come back to this year. Do you remember when Lionel Messi got was it 80 or 90 calendar year goals or something crazy like that? And then Chelsea went there and it went to the Nou Camp, and then Messi got a penalty, and then he hit the crossbar. Did it a crossbar or did he miss it? Or he blazed it over? It was one of the two. And you sit there and you think Messi's got 90 goals this season. Of course, it's going in, and he misses it. And then, Fernando Torres does that, and you hear Gary Neville, Torres. We all remember that. Flawless is still in the chat. I remember it, being a Man United fan and all.
Yeah.
What I mean? Someone's looking down on them and that. And I just sit there and I just think, for Arsenal to go through, you sort of maybe need Arsenal to have a defensive masterclass. You will need to do that. That's just a fact, a baseline fact. But you'll probably need maybe, Mbappe to hit the post instead of it hitting the inside of the post and going in. You might need also Rodrigo to maybe not have his best game. Do you know what I mean? And then you'll just need, just them little factors, when just them little moments slightly go your way. I think, we're obviously going to have the performance of our life defensively. I think we need them little moments to go in our favour. And you know what? We will 100% need, lads, 100%, is if we get an opportunity, bloody take it. Take it. We have to. Even if we only get the one, even if it's just the 1/2 chance, we have to take it, especially with that first leg being at home first. We get one chance or good chance, it has to go in the back of the net. That net has to ripple. And you know what? I hope it's in the second half because I sit in the North Bank. So, I'll get to see it right up a little bit closer.
Oh, man. It's hard to call. Go ahead, DJ.
No, you were going to say what I was going to say. It is hard to call, but at the end of the day, and after this, I want to move over to Arsenal versus Fulham because we play them on Tuesday.
at the end of the day, we have to hope that they have a bad day and we have a very, very good day, especially with the form that we headed into the international break on. Like, look, we beat PSV. I think that was one of the worst showings in the round of 16 in Champions League history, I believe it was.
Yep.
So we can't say, oh yeah, no, we beat the shit out of PSV. Like, no, that was one of the worst sides in Champions League history. So we can't rest on our laurels. So we need to go out and realize who we're playing and realize that they're not prone to making a ton of mistakes. And we need to go out there and just play the ball that I know that these guys are capable of playing.
How many YouTubers thought we were going to lose to PSV?
Dude, I did. I said it.
I know.
I said it.
Yeah.
And I was glad we were proven wrong. I was glad we were proven wrong, but the quality difference is just staggering.
Oh yeah, right. And now we're meeting quality that's equal or better for sure. But I still think here's the one player I think that has to be superb, and there's a lot of pressure still because it comes to the big price tag, is Mr. Declan Rice. And I'm not sure if these Madrid midfielders are ready for this kind of energy. I'm dead serious. And that's where I think the one gleaming spot is that our midfield can run.
Declan Rice and Party
can run, have to have flawless games, right?
Yep.
Party has been one of our best midfielders this season, So he just needs to show that again, and Rice just needs to be commanding. And I know Rice, I think he's been off and on. We've blamed it on the Euros of that, but the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's been one of our better players. Even you have to remember, TJ, you and I and Connor went on this very show, and you guys were slamming me because I said, Declan Rice isn't living up to his price tag. And he went on and scored a goal the next day, right? And he went on and scored again, right? So maybe he's listening to the show. Shout out Deckers. But,
big up Deckers.
The thing is that his energy and the engine that he has won't be like anything Madrid's really faced in La Liga. Let's be honest.
No,
right?
No, I agree 100%.
Verona, we picked up some of these other, half-ass sides, but none of those teams have an engine like Declan Rice.
Can I call out another player that needs to have an absolute world-class performance? Jurrien Timber.
Yeah.
Jurrien Timber. Not only on the offensive side of the ball, big up Don Hussam for the raid, by the way. Big up Don Hussam every single time. My fucking guy. I'm not going to play the clip because that was really nice of you to raid. So I'm not going to do it. Thank you, Hussam, for the raid. Big up my guys. Guys, if you are joining over from Don Hussam, so smash the likes, sub, join the comments in either the chat or after the video is ended. I respond to every single fucking comment. So no, Jurrien Timber though. Now, look, we have to generate chances in the final third, and the danger that Timber has presented all season in the final third when he inverts into the midfield or he's able to go out to the overlap like he does it all. But he's also not a defensive liability. Like, this is why I think he's one of the I think he's right back of the season, in my opinion. People disagree. People say that it's Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's fine. Agree to disagree. But Timber is a key moment or a key player on the offensive side of the pitch, in my opinion. Not only on the defensive side, the offense side, because he gives the Real Madrid final third something to worry about.
He's got to deal with Vinny as well. He has to deal with
Vinny. He has to deal with Vinny. Yep. Yeah. But so does Saka. Yeah. So or whoever's on the right.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And that's why as well. When when you sort of think about it, you're like, oh yeah, the right hand side's got to deal with Vinny. The left hand side has also got to deal with Rodrigo. And that's why. And I know Arteta won't do it. That's why I'm desperate to see Kieran Tierney there. Absolutely desperate to just see Kieran Tierney there because do you know what? He can overlap. Like I said, I already laid out my team on that counter attack, but most importantly, as a defender, I won't wish injury upon anyone. Yeah, so I'll start off this by saying that. But when Calafiori pulled up for 2 or 3 weeks, I'm sorry, I was kind of quite glad purely because if he was to start at left back, and I will apologise for this because I don't wish injury on anyone. If he was to start at left back, I reckon Rodrigo would absolutely rip the shreds out of him. He defends like Andre Santos, like back in the day. He's not good one-on-one at all. I reckon he'd get absolutely torn to pieces. So when I see he only had a little cheeky 2 or 3 weaker, do you know what I mean? Like, first things, obviously, hopefully you recover from whatever it is, my friend. But second, I was like, wow, yeah, I'm kind of glad he's not going to start against Real Madrid, if I'm being totally honest with you.
Yeah.
We need a more defensive-minded player. We've got Kieran Tierney there. And worst-case scenario, and like I said, it would be the worst-case scenario, I'd have Ben White starting, but he's not fully fit enough for me. But I'd rather have Timber on that left-hand side and maybe a bit of Ben White if he has got match fitness. That's how I'd go.
Yeah, I just don't see the impact. I just don't see the impact from Timber on the left as much as I do on the right. Look, he's solid on the left. Don't get me wrong. He's put in several man of the match performances on the left, but on the right, he just looks so dangerous. And big up Tyler Jones for the super sticker or comment. Dude, next time comment. We'll read it out live on the stream. Thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate it, my guy Tyler. Thank you so much. Anyway, that's my only thing. But that also shows like we're weak on the left again. Calafiori, how long is he going to be out? Do we even know?
Do we have? Oh, God.
Like, look, and Zinchenko proved in the PSV game that he's way better in the midfield. This guy is fucking awesome. Like, dude, we're
gonna play a 3-6-1.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro. Like, it's absolutely crazy.
I've been doing all shows. Like with you, DJ and Tony Cloud. I mean, the Calafiori-Rodrigo battle is not what I want to watch.
Yeah, sorry. Right?
I mean,
nobody wants to watch that,
bro. He could just outside touch that ball at the right side of his foot and be down the byline before Calafiori even knows where his front foot is. And that's why Kieran Tierney is the first person on the team sheet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he's got to look at that and be like, Zinchenko, Calafiori, right, and then Tierney, we know Arteta doesn't fully rate him, right? We know this, but if Tierney, it's going to count on these players like we've all mentioned: Timber, Tierney, Partey, Rice, even Martinelli down to Nwaneri, having the fucking games of their lives, giving it all out on the pitch in those 2 matches, because we have seen surprises. I saw Thierry Henry blow by the Bernabeu from the halfway line and stick it in for a nasty 1-0. I saw the 5-1 against Inter. I've seen miracles. This club has performed miracles. I saw the smashing we gave City about 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
How many times did how many here thought City were going to beat us? I was saying 4-0, 4-1.
No, that was the only time I've left the Emirates happy in about a year.
Right.
When we beat Man City and all of that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was like, wow, what a joy.
I was jumping out of my skin. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we know they're not the best season, but it's still, the quadruple fucking winners, right? I mean, there's something to be said to that, and I'm sorry, guys, if we play like that, we can beat Madrid. I'm not saying we will, but we can, right? We can put a couple on them at home if the key players play mistake-free football and everybody follows suit, right? What I don't want is Odegaard out there running around silent. He needs to be vocal, right? He needs to learn from Gabriel and Rice. He needs to take control. But you guys...
I don't think he changes at all.
Link, right. I don't think so either. And the more I think about it, he's got to be the weakest link in that 11 squad, even with Moreno up front. I mean, let's be honest. The tricks are great. The hair flicks aren't. You give him 3 or 4 yards, he'll annihilate any back line. He can put in a through ball, a nice curved aerial ball, etc. But the thing is he will not take control of that game. Right? It'll be left up to Rice. It'll be left up to Timber. It'll be left up to Gabriel and Saliba. Or maybe Trossard. I think Sensei said in the chat earlier, he's more worried about Trossard because he's probably one of the most technical, gifted footballers on the squad. Even though I think he's ready to go, but who knows? Well, I just think that it starts with the formation. If you get the formation right, the rest will fall in place.
Yeah.
Well, I also think it has something to do with momentum too, and we have 2 league games leading up to it, and we all know that the league is done. Let's just be real. But I think the games leading up to that are going to be very, very important, especially in terms of performances and form. We have Fulham on the weekend or on Tuesday, middle of the day. Can't wait for that. I'm going to try to get out of work early so we can go do a match reaction. But my biggest worry is that, are we going to come out of the gates firing after this international break? Are we going to do what is necessary to beat Fulham? Because Fulham has been a bogey team for us over the last 2 years. Right. So, like, when was the last time we got all 3 points against them? I think it was 22-23 at home when we beat them at Craven Cottage.
3-0.
But ever since then we've been garbage against Fulham. Obviously, at home we are going to. Last time out, I think we drew to them with 10 men. We need to go out and show that we are serious. We are a serious football team this time. So, Aaron, what are you thinking about Fulham and how it leads into, obviously, Everton? You mentioned this earlier, and Real Madrid in a couple of weeks.
Yes, do you know what? It's sort of a tricky one, because when you're sort of fans like us, when you got your head screwed on the right way, definitely. Sorry. You're sort of looking at the Fulham game, and it's a shame now. I'll almost look at all the Premier League games almost like, you know what I mean? Because we know it doesn't mean anything. I'm more strategizing for the Real Madrid game in all of these 2 games. You know, in the Fulham game and in the and then of course in the Everton away. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, you know, fifth place is guaranteed, isn't it, to England this year because of the Opta stats. They've said 98% chance England will get it because of the way England are playing. England teams are performing in Europe. Are we going to fall out top 6? No. I'm sitting there and thinking, Fulham at home, start with your best team. Of course, they need minutes and they need games. But, like, all I want to see from that game is, obviously, I want to see a win. Let's get it right.
Yeah,
we should be beating these teams at home. Yeah. Let's not. I'm not trying to sidetrack off of that. We should be beating them at home. On my main focus is in the competition that we actually could win, possibly. You know, and even there's some chances in that. I'm like, will we play a team? Will we go out there and will we take off a Gabriel or Saliba after 60 minutes, or will we? For some people that want him to play, will we be unfortunately playing Saka in it? I hope not.
No.
Will we be? Basically, I'm trying to say is, are we going to be able to adequately game manage the competition that we're realistically in? Because Mikel Arteta can come out and he can say in press conferences all he well wants about it's mathematically still possible, so we'll still do it. His players know, he know, we all know we're not winning the league. I think these just 2 games are just, I see him as preparation for a Real Madrid game. That's the game. Anything can happen. Look, listen, I don't think we're going to go through against Real Madrid for the record. But there's a chance. There ain't a chance that we're going to win the Premier League, if we're all honest with each other. Right. And that's what I'm looking at. And these next 2 games are, you know, we've got this Fulham game coming up. Can we just manage the game well? You know, we should be winning these games. We should be able to rest. And this is no disrespect to Fulham. We're having a fantastic season, by the way. We should be able to go there at Fulham with a good squad and go, we're going to rest one of our centre-backs. We're going to maybe play Ben White instead of Timber. We're going to rest Partey and put Jorginho in. You know, we're going to rest someone here and someone there. We should be able to do that and be confident getting 3 points. You know what I mean? Like, and we should be able to. I don't reckon that's an entitled overstretch to sort of assume that against Fulham at home,
I think
rest 4 first teamers.
Do you know what I mean? Partey is the right call because we know Partey gets injured, right?
Yeah.
At this point now, you've just got to go with the lesser of 2 evils.
Yeah.
Right. We've had the injury problems have been so bad. You've got to just go with your best players, and that's why I was saying I was maybe a bit deluded earlier this week in saying, well, if Saka's fit. But I would say that for other players, right? Like maybe, but besides that, we know he's not fit. And to answer the question in the chat earlier, no, I don't want him back, Ash. And I think I speak for Aaron and TJ. Not worth the risk for the upcoming season, even though we're not winning anything this season again. Like I've said, Ash, if Saka just turns his foot the wrong way, right, without the ball, then what?
Yeah.
It's one thing to be on the attack and he falls down and oh shit, but it's one thing when he just falls down and calls for the ref after 5 minutes because he just twisted his foot.
Now, would you say then? Would you say? Let's just say, for argument's sake, we do beat Real Madrid. And I don't want to take it back there.
I'm really glad. I'm really no, Aaron. I'm really glad you brought this up. Keep going. I'm really glad. Keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah. Because I didn't want to negate away from the fact that you want to talk about Fulham, but
Sure.
No, that's fine. No, bring it up.
There's two questions I want to ask on this. Yeah.
Sure.
Let's just say we beat Real Madrid and we're in the semi-finals. The first question would be about Saka, because that's where we were sort of tailing it. Yeah. And that would be, is there then more an argument to maybe play him then? And I touched on it earlier anyway, but maybe to play Saka if we get into the semi-final. Let's just say it's against Aston Villa or PSG. Well, it will be 1-2. Let's say it's against PSG because sod Villa and Emery. Is there another question for maybe them playing Saka? Because I'm leaning on that. And two, and this is the one. This is the one, because I know you want to wrap up soonish. Can Arsenal win the Champions League if we beat Real Madrid? I haven't actually asked or answered this question.
Dal, I'm gonna let you go first.
If we beat Real Madrid without Saka, but he's still fit, and now we've got PSG, which would be about 2 weeks after.
And Saka could be coming back.
Which would be possibly 2 more weeks of rehabilitation, essentially, right?
Exactly. And
now he'd be about 8 or 9 weeks. Fuck, Aaron, why do you ask these questions?
Sorry, mate.
Dude, that's a great question, and people are gonna call me a giant fraud for my.
I know. I mean, you're a fraud if you say, "Yeah, bring him back," right? Yeah, I know. So,
sorry, I just had to throw it in. I just thought it, man. Let's go out there.
If it is Aston Villa, it's not going to be near as much pressure as Madrid, right? I mean, it'll be pressure. Don't get me wrong. The occasion, etc. But you're talking about a team that's not even. I don't consider PSG even the levels near Madrid. I think Aston Villa is better than PSG at this moment in time, and Emery knows how to win these competitions. So in my book, Aaron, it's going to be Aston Villa, is what I think. I truly think so.
And
because they have Emery.
In the question, Al, you wonderful fucker.
I'm avoiding
motherfucker, man.
We win it, yeah.
All right, if we win it, right? Which we
beat Real Madrid. Can Arsenal win the Champions League?
Fan base, the stars align, and the fan base actually become one again, right? And then he's had 2 or 3 weeks more of rehabilitation. Yes, dude, because the semifinal is what gets you to the final, right? If you ask me, we beat Madrid and keep him out for the semifinal, that we guarantee him to play in the final? Yes, because I do feel if he's training now, he will be better in 6 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, 4 to 5 weeks' time. He will.
We'd have seen him as well at that point. We'd have seen him play to see how he's progressing. Also at that time,
but that's that's keeping him out of the Madrid game, though, right? That's keeping him out of Madrid and winning it with a say Waneri, right? Or Sterling, for God's sakes, at right. Yes, I think that 2 or 3 extra weeks will play into Arteta's mind. It will play into Saka's mind that it's Villa, right? Let me play. The physical demands won't be as great. Right, he'll be up for the moment. Should be okay. We know a grade 3 hamstring. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But
probably better than the Arsenal doctors, no doubt.
Your first part of the question is yes. We play.
It's a low bar.
Yeah, it's a low bar.
Yeah. You've got a grade 3 hamstring. I was a plaster here. Look, it's got the
You can do staples. You'll be okay. Right? Yeah, and here's a shot of vodka.
Get the sponge out.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, go on, son. And so, this doctor's a different kind of doctor. But so to your second question, if we beat who we play, I think the final comes to Barcelona, and we are not beating Barcelona.
Yeah, well,
but you can beat anyone in a one game. You don't know.
Anyone in one game. Oh my god! Dude. Can I give my diluted take on this?
We lose in the final again.
People are gonna hate me for this. 5 games is different than 3 games. That is my point. Saka will have more time to heal up. You give him as much time as he needs. If we, by some miracle, get by Real Madrid and we end up against an Aston Villa or a PSG, we've shown we can beat them. We've shown we can beat them, and then anything can happen in a final. I'm still in that hashtag who knows category, but we get past Real Madrid. That's the best that's the best team in the tournament, I think, right now. And the momentum will be huge. But Barcelona are just levels above. They're showing that they're levels above all of their competition in La Liga. They're showing that they're levels above competition in the Champions League, but anything can happen in a final. Anything can happen.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Can they do it if we get past Real Madrid? Absolutely. We can do it. Will we? Yeah, I wouldn't be betting on it, to be honest with you, because guys, we still don't have a number 9. We still don't have a competent person or a stand-in there at left back. This manager refuses to play Kieran Tierney there, even though he has the experience in these kinds of situations. He's won trophies. But at the same time, like, there's just that little spark in me that says, if we beat Real Madrid, yes, we could do it. We could do it. But that also depends on Odegaard showing up. That depends on Rice showing up and Partey showing up every single match. That depends on Wanyeri playing out of his boots, even though he's 17 years old. That depends on Gabriel and Saliba being completely in sync. And Saliba, honestly, Saliba needs to step up, not Gabriel. It's Saliba that's the problem. So Saliba needs to show, like, everybody's, oh, TJ, he's going to Real Madrid. Like, don't worry about it. Okay, so if he's going to Real Madrid and he wants to earn that big contract, he needs to step up. He needs to show that he is willing to fight for this team to win. So and cement himself as a world-class center back. I have no worries about Yuri and Timber. I think that guy's veins are as cold as ice. It's just the left back position that gives me pause on the back line. So and David Raya, I have no problem with him. I have every confidence that he'll be fine in these situations. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, my diluted take, smash likes for the diluted take, people, is if we get past Real Madrid, we could get to the final, and anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's a deluded take. You know, when you sort of sit there and you think, do you remember last season we were sort of saying if Arsenal went away to Manchester City and beat them, that would be the mental step that they needed to go on and win the league. It's sort of like the same that, and I know just beating Real Madrid over 2 legs wouldn't guarantee you. Of course, it wouldn't against another team in the next round. Of course, it don't. But you know, for this sort of team, when you're talking about belief, and they haven't got enough quality, they're by nowhere near this current team as the best team in the Champions League. They're not. But if they could overcome Real Madrid, and they probably won't, if they could, that would give them so much belief to go, if we've just beat Real Madrid, the champions of this competition, going into a PSG or Aston Villa, maybe it could just give them the extra step. But obviously, you know, there is that massive final, which probably will be Barcelona. But again, you know, you can sort of go to the other side and sort of say, it's in a single game. Who thought that Arsenal, after 10 men, Jens Lehmann, ridiculous ref. Who'd have thought that after Ludovic Guli put that ball in the net and then it got disallowed, and then, you know, we got sent off, and then Eboué whips in the ball, and then Campbell wallop straight in the corner. Who would have thought that would have held on with 10 men, 1-0 up, you know, against obviously the same team? It can happen. You know, it's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes. And the reality is it wouldn't happen. But I'll tell you what, from my take of it, and you know, it's an honest take. If we was to beat Real Madrid, I'd start to believe. I would. It would change. I wouldn't start to believe in terms of, I think we're going to win this, but I'll go, there'd be that part of me that would go, you know what, we could do it. And it wouldn't be a big part of me, but there isn't a part of me now that thinks that we could do it. If we beat Real Madrid, there is a part of me that go, maybe.
Let me ask you guys real quick before we jump out of here.
Sure.
And PJ, if it's a final against Bayern Munich, do we win it?
No, I don't think so.
You know, Harry Kane will score, so you're already 1-0 down, aren't you?
Florian Wirtz, man, like these guys, I don't know.
Florian Wirtz isn't it Bayern Munich?
No, he's not at Bayern Munich. Sorry.
He'll be at Man City though come August.
He will be. He will be. Sorry, Stinker and Hooked. No, I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking their midfield and their attacking three man. We're in trouble. We're in serious trouble.
Go out, I'm rooting all the way for Unai Emery. I'm going all in for Aston Villa. If they won the Champions League before us, bro, woo!
Could you imagine
the fan base?
Could you imagine, bruv, Liverpool winning the Premier League? Yeah, Liverpool winning the Premier League.
Liverpool winning the league and Emery
what's it? Man City winning the FA Cup. Villa winning the Champions League. Tottenham winning the UEFA Cup and Chelsea winning the Conference League. In the bin, son.
Woo! And Emery has the experience. He doesn't have the players. He does not have the players. You like that, DJ Crane, with the woo? Because I'm a Rolex wearing, limousine driving,
limousine riding, jet flying,
woo! Jet set. And for you kids don't know, go look at Ric Flair on YouTube.
Yeah, go look up Ric Flair, the best wrestler ever.
We have a chance against Byron. No, I think, to be honest, to be 100% honest, Boston, I fear Bayern Munich more than I fear Barcelona. I do. The history.
What's that? Did you think that they could
Boston, the 10-2? I mean, the 10-2
outdo us.
Fuck.
With Barca, they could play open. They could get at that. But yeah, I get the Bayern. I mean, they've both had something over us, didn't they? To be fair, in the Champions League, I know we're talking about different generations, but they've both had our pants down, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? Over the course of our unfortunate, let's just call it, European Champions League pedigree.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I want to throw that out there too, guys, before we go our separate ways here in this fabulous show today. That Barcelona, Bayern Munich, I mean, that's real. That's the real shit, right? Once you get past Madrid. But I do agree that winning in Madrid does put the wind in our back and gives us that momentum. And I think any squad, think about any squad beating them, if you're underrated, so to speak, right? If Aston Villa were facing off and beat Madrid, we'd be like, holy shit, right? And I do think of Madrid, like I said, aligns the fan base, brings in, and once the fan base does get on the same page, and like TJ said earlier about winning, and we win at Madrid, and the fan base gets together again on the same page, then we can go forward. I do think some of the pressure, some of these young players, they get in their heads that, that they're not good enough because of what they saw on Twitter or what they read on Facebook or etc.
Yeah.
Right. I do think social media affects some of the young players to a degree, but hey, man, if we beat Madrid, I think it's wide open.
I'll tell you what, if we have a good result, like in terms of a win, because I won't celebrate a draw. I'm not Tarico at White Hart Lane in 2004. That was celebrating Robbie Keane's penalty for 2-2, and then 5 seconds later they realised Arsenal won the league there. I'm not Tarico. Do you know what I mean? But what I will do is if Arsenal win, I will be going live after I get back off the Emirates, and then you'll see a happy me. Well, you'll see a happy me. Do you know what I mean? It'll only be half time done, but you'll see a happy me if we turn up with a win at home against the Emirates, against Real Madrid at the Emirates. 100%.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. All right, guys, that is the show for this evening. Again, another blockbuster. Aaron talks Arsenal here. Again, this guy, Aaron, you're welcome back anytime, man. We had a great time. And dude, an hour and a half passed like nothing. So I really, really appreciate you coming on. Shout out your channel. Shout out what you got coming up. Guys, the link is in the title. Go and subscribe. He is a massively unsubscribed person. So go out there and subscribe to his channel right now. What do you got coming up, Ars?
Yeah. Listen, first and foremost, as soon as I got the invite, I made sure that if I wasn't doing anything, I was always going to say yes, and that's a default for any other invite. If I'm available and I've got nothing pre-existing or a plan with the missus, it's always a yes. I love coming on and talking to you guys, man. I love talking to people that talk Arsenal properly, and specifically when I like the two people, then it's even better for me. This hour and 31-22 is just
You're
unbelievable.
making TJ blush.
I could stay
Oh
on
my
for
God,
another
I'm
hour.
blushing.
I know everyone's got. Do you know what I mean? I'm treble grateful. Joe, listen, do you know what I mean? That's it. I can see him going a little bit red. Don't worry, my brother. Do you know what I mean? I've got you, my American brothers. It's an absolute pleasure. And what I've got coming up, I'll probably, because obviously it's frustrating, isn't it? You know, there's no real football. Thank you, Arteta, for getting us knocked out of the FA Cup.
Thank you for
I'll
that,
be doing a little preview on the 31st, whenever that is. I can't think, is it a Monday? I'll be doing a FULHAM preview with my mate Shane. I think I've got a stream set up for tomorrow, actually, and at about 10 a.m. I was drunk when I set that up, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that or not. But I mean, maybe come at 10 o'clock UK time. Maybe I'll show up, everyone.
10 a.m. I'm up at 3 a.m. to watch that show. Then apparently, thanks.
Yeah, you know, yeah. So you know, when I can remember setting streams up, most of the time I make them. So make sure you come over to Aaron Talks Arsenal, and
right.
I'll endeavour to make them. But thank you very much for having me on, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. I enjoyed every single second of it.
Absolutely. No. And Aaron, I was looking forward to the show all day because Aaron is one of the best and most engaging guests that we've had on this channel, period, end of story. So thank you very, very much, Aaron. Dal, any last words, my friend? I know we're gonna be running some Warzone once for Dansk.
Oh yeah.
Again.
Any Call of Duty fans out there, watch me and TJ trying to save the free world in Warzone. In the next few days, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Oh, there's my phone. Bye, Josh. Anyway, no, great show today. Good to see you again, Aaron, TJ. Yeah, let's hope the stars align and get one over on Madrid. But other than that, we've got. Let's hope the players are focused on Fulham though first. I mean, we got to do one game at a time, right?
Quick prediction.
I think we beat Fulham 2-1.
Yeah, dude, that was mine. That was mine too.
Yeah. For Laos.
Yeah.
2-1.
So I think 2-1. Declan Rice, 89th minute.
I
say that every game. I say that every game.
Declan Rice, 90th minute.
But yeah, I think we had a great discussion today. I think there's still lots of the Arsenal world to talk about that we haven't touched on. The sporting director, I think, was announced today or yesterday. So yeah, great show today. I'm going to hang out tonight and have some friends come to town. Actually, I'm going to have a couple beers.
Nice.
And drink. So yeah, other than that, fucking great show again. Episode 97. Let's go.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. This has been episode 97. Yeah, big up everybody in the chat and big up our super chatters as well. Big up Tyler Jones. You now own the channel. Congratulations. I really, really appreciate your super chat, my guy. Yeah, you literally just paid Connor's salary for the next month. I really, really appreciate it. Guys, we're going to redirect you over to Diluted Gooner. Go over there and say TJ Warren TV raid for me real quick. DG has been popping into everybody's chats. I saw that he was in Aaron's chat earlier, and he's been in my chat every so often. So go over there and show him some love. Until next time, come on, you Gunners, through thick and thin and through dating services, apparently. I don't know why.
You don't have the answers, DJ.
Do you have the answer?
You don't have the answer.
Tony, do you have the answer?
You don't have the answer.
You don't have the answer either.
You don't have the answer.